Ashe. Ashe and Grand Rising, a grand day to you all once again, my fellow humans. And welcome to this another of my thought-provoking perspective. Yes, it is I. It is yours truly, I, the Mystic Philosopher. And yes, my dear beloved people, it is high time for thinking. It is high time for reason and for reasoning. Above all, it is high time to speak truth to the power that is but cannot be. It is high time. For as the saying goes, wickedness, evil will only continue to flourish. Evil will only continue to dominate us when good people stand by, or if or when good people stand by and say or do nothing. So speak the power of words and the power of the truth. It's light and it disperse and dispel all darkness. And the topic of today's talk is titled Another Perspective on the Current Wars the World Over. Not just the current war in the Middle East, as you shall shortly see, but the current war the world over. So I was having a discussion, a reasoning with a very concerned, intelligent, and well-informed, forward-thinking, and open-minded young woman yesterday. And the discussion was on a number of different topics, all related to current world events. During which time she asked me the following question. She asked me, what is my perspective? What do I think, or what is my perspective on the current war that is going on in the Middle East between the state of Israel and Palestine, or the Palestinians, and Hamas in particular, and the wars that are going on in Europe, the place currently called Europe, between Russia and Ukraine, and by extension all the wars and proxy wars and rumors of wars between the superpowers or the superpower countries the world over. And so I thought that I would share my response, my answer to her with you all in this post, in this video presentation. And my answer to this her question is that to those of us that have spiritual, metaphysical, and physical eyes that can truly see, and ears that can truly hear, and a mind that can truly know, understand, and overstand, to us it is what it is. And that is all that it is. And she asked me, what is it? What it is? And I said, madness. I said, it is madness. It is all madness. Madness also known as insanity. It is insanity, all insanity. I told her that what she is personally witnessing with her own eyes and with her own physical senses on this side of reality, what she is seeing or what she sees happening live on her television set, I told her that the propaganda, the lying, the bombings, the indiscriminate and otherwise bombings, I told her that the human sufferings, the maiming, the wanton killing of women, elders, infants and children, the murdering and the bloodshed, the genocide, the extermination, the starvation, the extermination of other humans. I told her the hatred, the injustices, the blaming. I told her that the cold-heartedness, the insensitivity, the lack of human sympathy, the lack of human empathy, the complete lack of morality, the inhumanity, the devolution of our natural humanity, etc., etc. I told her that all that and more that she is personally witnessing, seeing happening on her television, not only in the so-called Middle East and the Caucasus Mountains, also known as Europe, or commonly called Europe, Ukraine, and Russia, but all over the world. I told her that it is not just a physical thing, aka it is not just a physical war that is happening, but that it is far more deeper and far more sinister than that. I told her that it is a spiritual and metaphysical war that is going on. Metaphysical meaning beyond the physical. I told her that from the Mystic Philosopher's perspective and my spiritual and metaphysical insight, this so-called planet and Mother Earth is currently under siege. Under siege by evil entities and forces that are alien to our planet. Aliens from other densities and realities. I told her that from my perspective, the evil alien entities and forces of evil that have our planet and all her natural inhabitants under siege is working and manifesting the wickedness, working and manifesting their wickedness upon us through their very small group of, and I want you to listen carefully, and I ask you to listen carefully now, through their very small group of con-picked, hand-picked, brain-picked, mind-picked, and race-picked humankind and human beings that are most commonly known and is easily and can be easily recognized by those of us that are in the know as who? The elites. The elects. Who are the elites? The elect, or the elect of the gods. The same alien them, the elect of God. They are also known as the elect of God. They are also known as the chosen few. They are also known as the chosen people. The chosen people of God. The chosen people of the gods. They are also known as the elites. Yes, the Illuminatis, the untouchable, the warmongers, the bankers, the money changers, the colonizers, the Satanists, the globalists, the super rich, the 1%ers, or may I say the less than 1%ers. They're also known as the government and governments of what? The world, the planet. They're also known as the politicians. The so-called, listen carefully, the so-called leaders and so-called world leaders, etc., etc. Yes, I told her that from the Mystic Philosopher's perspective, using the oppressor's language, also known as the English language, or may I be more correct, using one of the oppressors' languages, and this one in case of the English language, I told her that I think that I can and that I will describe the seizure as a shield of blackness. Not shield, but a shield, SHEATH, of blackness. As a spiritual dome of blackness. As a spell, a prolonged spell of evil, a prolonged spell of wickedness, a bad omen called madness and total insanity. I told her that from the Mystic Philosopher's perspective, an evil spell, a curse, a bad omen called madness and insanity via all the aforementioned alien invaders, the aforementioned invaders, have been cast and broadcast and are being cast and are being constantly recast and rebroadcast upon the earth and all her natural inhabitants. And please note that I said cast and broadcast, recast and rebroadcast. Let me explain the difference, or let me explain it for you. For those that are in the know, for those of you that are in the know, you will know what a spell is. Yes, a spell. You will also know that if or when a spell, be it a good spell or a bad spell, aka an evil spell, is cast, it can or it might be directed or projected most often in what it may be described as a horizontal direction, aka a line of sight direction, at an individual or at possibly a group of individuals, a group of people, possibly a whole household. In other words, it is like casting a stone. Let me give a practical example. It's like casting a stone with what? The intention of what? Hitting someone or something with it. What you would do first? You would first locate and single out that person or that thing that you would like to what? Hit. And then you would take aim at that person and release the stone or the spell in their direction. And if you aim, the operative word here now is if you aim, if your aim is good. In other words, if you are good at throwing stones or if you are good at throwing spells, and if the person is not adequately covered or protected from being hit, if they don't have that iron dome protected from being hit by the stone or by the spell, he or she will be, or he or she may be hurt. He or she will be hurt, or he or she may be hurt, and possible he or she will be hurt severely. From what? From the stone or from the spell that you cast or that you have thrown. Now, in Jamaica, among those that practice the art of witchcraft, also commonly known as obia, it is called what? Throw a blow. Or throw a blow. Meaning, the person who wishes to throw the blow or the spell would go to an obia man or a mother woman to have her throw a blow. She know the ritual, she know to do her thing. And to throw the blow or to, on someone or he or she, whether that person could be an enemy or a friend. Sometimes people throw a blow on their own family member. Be wicked. But you know what I'm talking about if you're Jamaican. However, a spell that is broadcast will and can reach far more people and at a much greater distance at every angle and in every direction. Broadcast. Remember that word? Don't take words lightly. For example, when a radio or a television signal or a radio and television spell, for those in the know, is transmitted from a radio and television station via a radio and television transmitter, and especially when and where there is no obstruction or interference or shield, it can and it will reach a broader and wider range of people, and thus it is called what? Broadcast. Another example is like dropping a pebble in a quiet pond and watch the ripples or the waves that it creates moves in all direction, equally in all direction. And that is exactly what I meant when I told her that from my perspective, an evil spell, a curse, a bad omen called madness and insanity have been cast and broadcast and are being constantly recast and rebroadcast upon the earth and all her inhabitants. I told her that we are all being bombarded by our aforementioned enemies and invaders and evil alien entities, along with their aforementioned cohorts and collaborators via their media and mediums or channels, day and night, 24/7, left, right, and center, constantly and rather consciously and unconsciously. We are being bombarded with the evil spell of insanity, the evil spell of madness. I told her that some of us, the spiritually awakened and enlightened ones, have some varying degrees, some form or some varying degrees of protection and immunity against this spell of insanity. the curse of madness. And that the evidence is also showing that most people have no protection whatsoever from the curse, the evil, and the contagious spell of insanity. And consequently, they meaning those without protection, have fallen victims and are falling victims and are becoming victims of the curse, the evil and contagious spell called madness and insanity, which is evident in their behavior. I told her that as a result of this, the curse of madness, aka insanity, all the so-called leaders and world leaders of the world are stricken or have been stricken with the mental disease called madness. If not, why are they behaving the way they are behaving? If they weren't mad. And for those of you, my listeners, that may have watched and listened to my series of presentations titled Another Perspective on Healthy Living, you will have remembered hearing me go into great details and offering logical, practical, and common sense proof as to why they are not at all leaders and world leaders. How can world leaders who claim to have power, let me repeat this. How can world leaders, think about it, people. If you are a thinker, I say it's time for thinking, it's time for reason and for reasoning. How can world leaders, people who claim to have power to blow the planet to pieces, how can they, power to protect the weak, to even heal the sick, power to do justice? If they weren't mad, how could they sit and watch all the aforementioned evils that we are seeing going on our televisions today? The amount of madness that is going on. How? Only a mad person from my perspective. Only the mad, the insane leaders. And I also explain why I use the phrase so-called and so-called world leaders to explain the truth and to describe them that they are not leaders. Leaders would be where? In front of the battle. If they were leaders, as I explained before, if they were really leaders, as the word would mean, and it's being illustrated in, if you notice I didn't say demonstrated, illustrated in the animal kingdom and among all other animals. The leader go first. If there was a war, is the leader war. When is the leader go to war, and if the leaders were going to war, guess what would happen? We wouldn't have no war, we would have less war if at all any war. Because the leaders would die first, and let them cause the trouble. Them always, so get rid of them and you get rid of war. They would go, but what you have today is those that call themselves leaders. They don't go to war. They hide in some bunker and prepare some place where anything happening, run and go hide like I don't know what. Like not even rat run and hide like them. But they run and hide, and what they do, they stay, they say they are leading from behind and send innocent people to die. They say they are fighting for their country and they are fighting for them. Lie! They send innocent people to die. They lie. Yes. And when the war is over, because it will come to an end, when the war is over, if at all they don't totally destroy themselves, or if you don't reach them and get them destroyed, they come out and claiming that they are the winners. They take all the praises. They didn't fight a damn thing. They send innocent people to die. That's madness from the Mystic Philosopher's perspective. And that's why I explained that they are not leaders. I told her, this young and intelligent woman, that because they are mad, these so-called leaders are mad because of their insanity. They have driven, and that they are driving the people that they are deceptively and deceivingly claiming to what? To be leading. Insane. They're driving people insane. They're driving people. I don't have time to get into all of the many ways. They drive everybody insane. Some people have to take pills to go to their bed to sleep because of these people. They're driving people mad and even madder than themselves. Driving people mad like themselves. And if not mad, worse than themselves. Yes. That people drive totally out of their mind. Insane. These demons cause it. I also told her that because they are all under the influence of the alien gods. Their alien gods and alien masters and handlers, aka also commonly known as who? Satan the devil. and thus mad. Because of that, they are thus mad, insane, demon possessed, and evil, that there is no good that can, or no good that will come of them or from them. I told her that she should not try to rebuke, reprove, or correct them, or expect that they may or that they can change for the better. I also told her that these humankind should and must be avoided when necessary and at all cost, because they only know to do evil and practice wickedness. Because of their evil possession, they will find perverted pleasure in hurting her or hurting anyone, regardless of one's innocence and honest and innocent intention and intention for good. And then she asked me if I am a psychiatrist. And I said, no, I'm not. I am the Mystic Philosopher and more. And then she said, if I am not a psychiatrist, how can I prove that these so-called leaders and world leaders, along with the majority of their subjects and people of the world, are under their spell, the curse of insanity, and are mad? How can I prove that? And then I asked her, being the intelligent and educated woman that she is, and knowledgeable of the English language, far more than I do, I asked her what other word or words in the English language other than madness and insanity that she think that she could use that can or that will better describe that which she is witnessing with her own eyes, with her own senses on the television, the wars and the rumors of war that she herself is asking I, the Mystic Philosopher, about. I told her in no uncertain terms that from I, the Mystic Philosopher's perspective, it is by their fruits. That is how I know that they are mad. I told her that it is by their fruits, meaning by their words, by their works, by their deeds, by their actions and manifestations. That is how I think I know that I know that they are mad. That is how I know that not only are they under the spell and the curse of madness, but that they are indeed mad. And that they are indeed insane. And that is how she too can, or that is how she too may know that these people, these humankind, are mad as well. I told her that she too would have to be mad or insane, completely out of her mind, herself, not to see what she is witnessing as madness and insanity, what she's asking me about as madness and insanity. And that those that are carrying out all those evil acts as both under the spell and the curse of madness. She would be mad herself and insane if she don't see it. And finally she asks me, what is the solution and how do I think that it will all end? And I told her that it has been said and written in ancient times, and I quote for her, those whom the gods would destroy, they first make mad, or made mad, unquote. Those whom the gods will destroy, the first thing will make them mad. The same gods that is simply going to destroy them. Sorry, some of us have to go down with them too. I told her that from I, the Mystic Philosopher's perspective, it is much too late now for it to end well and in our favor. I think it's too late. My perspective. I told her that from my perspective, it will all end in total destruction. And to quote the late Robert Nesta Marley in one of his songs, he said, well, it seems like it's total destruction. Total destruction is the only solution. And now to further prove my point as I wrap up here, now to further prove my point to you, all my listeners, that all these, the aforementioned humankind are mad. having been possessed with the spirit of madness, aka the spirit of insanity. Let us take a look at the meaning and definition of the English word mad, also known as madness and insanity. Madness and insanity. Now remember, this is not my language, so I have to go to it to make sure that I'm using the right word to try and bring across the point that I intend to do. What is madness, aka insanity? What is insanity? In other words, what is the meaning and definition of the word mad? How do we know and how can we know that someone or some people are indeed mad? Someone is or some people are indeed mad. How do we and how can we distinguish mad people, aka insane people, from those that are sane and have sound natural mind? What is or what are the behavior and characteristics of an individual or of a people that are mad versus those that are sane? And after we look up the meanings and definitions of the word mad in the English language, please let us see and wisely and honestly judge if all the aforementioned people and so-called leaders and world leaders that we see acting out on our television screen are mad, or if they are indeed sane and have sound natural mind. Now, according to Merriam-Webster's dictionary right here online, mad by meaning and definition is, and I quote, one arising from, indicative of, or marked by mental disorder. 2, completely unrestrained by reason and judgment, unable to think in a clear or sensible way. Informal, intensely angry or displeased, unquote. Check it for yourself. I'm just dropping it here. Now, according to the online, which is my favorite dictionary, the online etymology dictionary, madness by meaning and definition is disorder in intellect, demented, crazy, insane, out of one's mind, usually implying also violent excitement, also foolish, extremely stupid, to render insane, abnormal, vain, boastful, to hurt, to maim, etc. Can't you see it? Unquote. Again, back to you, my very patient listeners and watchers. Now that you have heard and seen for yourselves, and some of you may have already noticed for yourselves, all the meanings and definitions of the words mad, madness, also known as insanity, or insane and insanity, from these 2 English dictionaries, and no doubt you too are well aware of the wars and all the evils that are going on as a consequence. What other word or words in the English language, that you can think of that can or that will better describe the perpetrators of these evils other than mad? Other than they are mad, other than madness, other than they are insane, other than insanity. What are the words? Which other words, or what better words other than madness and insanity that you can think of or may use to describe and represent the propaganda, the lying, the bombings, the indiscriminate bombings, and otherwise the gross human sufferings, the starvation, the maiming and the wanton killings of women, elders, grandmothers and grandfathers, infants and children, even animals? Which other words, or what better words other than madness and insanity that you can honestly think of or may honestly use to describe and represent the murdering, the bloodshed, the genocide, the extermination of other humans, the passionate hatred, the injustices, the blaming, the indifference that we are witnessing with our own eyes on our television screen? What are other words other than madness and insanity? Which other words or what better words other than madness and insanity that you can honestly think of or may use to describe and represent the cold-heartedness, the insensitivity, the lack of human sympathy, the lack of human empathy, the complete lack of morality, the inhumanity, the complete devolution and destruction of our natural humanity, etc., etc., that we are all witnessing happening on our television? Not only in the so-called Middle East, and in the Caucasus Mountain, aka Europe, Ukraine, and Russia, but all over the world today. People, I hereby ask that you please tell I, the mystic philosopher, which other words or what better words other than madness and insanity and demon possession that you can honestly think of or may honestly use to describe and represent the perpetrators of all the aforementioned evils and more upon the earth and our fellow natural native earthly human, other than madness, other than insanity and demon possession, other than they are mad, other than they are insane, other than they are demon possessed. I know you all are brighter than me. So I await, I patiently await your findings. And at the same time, let me say thanks for listening. And please stay tuned for my upcoming new series titled Another Perspective on Peace Between Human and Humankind. In the meantime and between time, in your becoming, I will let you be more and more and not less, aka bless. For I am the mystic philosopher. Ashe, 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 I say.